let me tell you a secret. Come here. No, come on. Audio is the most important part of video. You probably already knew that, but just in case you didn't or you forgot, I needed to tell you. So here's the problem. How do we get high quality audio that's good enough for podcasting, live streaming, content creation, whatever you need, without spending like $1 billion on this expensive microphone and all of the equipment to go with it? I have a solution for you. So NearStream sent me this. This is the NearStream AM25x condenser microphone. Now, the cool part about it is that if you look, it has, there you go. It has XLR and USB connections, and you can monitor it with headphones. This mic also has noise cancellation. Now, NearStream says that it's good for podcasters, it's good for content creators. They say it is good for professional users. So we're going to put all of that to the test. So in this video, we're going to talk about the features and specifications of this microphone. We're going to do some real world testing. I'm going to show you how to set it up. Then we'll talk about pros and cons. And then at the end, we'll all circle up and then we'll talk about, is this right for you? And if it is, where can you get it from and how much it costs? With that being said, let's get it. Before I forget, NearStream sent me this microphone for review. They didn't tell me what to say. They didn't tell me how to say it. They just sent it to me and said, hey, tell us what you think about it and let your audience know what's going on. So that's what I'm going to do. This is going to be a review for beginners. So I'm going to talk about some things that you probably already know or you need to know. And if you already know, just skip past that part and then we'll just get to it. So with that being said, now let's get it. So let's talk about some of the numbers from this microphone. So this microphone has a supercardioid pattern, and this has an SPL of 125. The pickup range is about 15.7 inches. So you can get about 1.5 feet away from the microphone and it still will pick you up. So this microphone has dual connectivity. So if you take a look at this, I'll show you. All right, look, there is a USB and a XLR connection along with the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack for monitoring. And the cool part is you can plug this directly into your computer. You don't need any drivers, any extra equipment or nothing. You just plug it right in and you can start using it right away. You can also plug it into other devices that take USB, but we're going to test that as we move on. They tell you that if you use XLR, then you won't have access to the active noise cancellation and the gain knob controls and all of that, because in most cases, those things are found on the audio interface. And speaking of the noise cancellation, this is one of the first condenser mics that I've seen with active noise cancellation. We've reviewed many of NearStream's microphones before, and if you want to see those videos, they'll be down in the description. And if you look at the front, it has, look at that, we have some touch sensitive pads for mute and the multifunction pad here at the bottom with the light right there that shows what mode it's in. And you also have the gain control knob, and if you can see the plus and the minuses right there on it. So let's take a look at the build quality and the other physical features of this microphone. If you look at this, it's shaped a bit different than the other condenser mics in this same price range in the family. This has a more of a cube shape. See, look at that. It's more of a cube, whereas everything else is more cylindrical. I haven't verified this, but I think this is made of two materials. It seems to be like aluminum at the bottom, and then the top could be plastic. The reason why I say that, don't laugh, I did the air conditioning test. So I held this in front of the air conditioner just to get the body cold. And what I noticed is that the bottom part was cold to the touch. The top wasn't. So that tells me that the bottom is some kind of metal. The top is plastic or some composite material. So take a look at this microphone and just compare it to something else that I have. So you see, this is the NearStream. So when we weigh it, let's open this, and this is in grams. So when I set this on there, you see that is 170 grams. Fairly light. So this is my Rode Procaster, all metal construction. I mean, this thing is built like a tank. This could be a weapon if I wanted it to be. So let's place it on the scale and see what it weighs. The best I could get is 722 grams. So this microphone is about 7 times as heavy. The AM25X come with a desktop stand. So this is the stand, and it's basically a weighted base along with an aluminum riser. And if you look, this thing can rise a couple inches, and it has a ball head at the top. That's it. So the question is it worth it? And that's what we're gonna find out when we test this. So we're gonna switch and let's see what this thing sounds like and if all their claims are true. So let's go ahead and get this thing set up. Now the setup is really simple. Of course, once you put the base together, and if you look closely, see the base just screws out. It screws right out and you screw it on. I'm not gonna do that all the way. I just want you to be able to see it. So we screw this on and that's done. It has a adjustable height, so you can put it up high as low as you want. And look, it has an included 1/4-inch thread at the bottom, so you can screw this onto this mount or any other desk mount or boom arm that you have. It rolls right on. So let's go ahead and get that on there. So we're going to screw this on, and it just simply twists on. You just twist it. And I have my XLR connection. I'm going to do this first. So let me tell you what we got going on. So I have this microphone connected to my Rode Procaster. There's no additional processing happening. Everything is just natural right out of the microphone. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over, and that'll be the sound you hear is the NearStream AM25X. The first thing we want to look at is the pickup distance. Now it says that it can pick up about 15.7 inches. So I got my tape measure, and this is about 15.7 inches. But what I'm going to do is move it back the full 15 inches and let's see if it can pick up. So I'm going to sit here like this, and I'm going to measure this out, and I'm going to just move this back just like that. Okay. And I have it pointed directly at my mouth. So this is the full distance away. So does this work? Can you hear me? I won't know until I get the post-processing, but we'll see. Now, if we move closer, of course, you see the sound probably gets louder and it gets more pronounced. But this is literally, about 3 finger widths away from my mouth. All right, so let's talk about this polar pattern stuff. So this microphone has a supercardioid polar pattern. There's a heart-shaped cone of influence around this thing. So it picks up best from the front and here. But if you're on the sides of it and in the back, you don't hear it so well. So right then you should have noticed that when I was speaking to the front of the microphone, you could hear me better. But when I turned it off axis, you probably can't even hear me at all. If not, it's a little bit because I'm projecting across, and it probably sounds a little better from the back, but not much. So that's the nature of supercardioid polar patterns. So NearStream says that this microphone can handle up to 125 decibels before distortion occurs. So that's the SPL number. Now, if you look at this thing, 30 decibels is like a whisper. I can do. 60 decibels is a normal conversation. I can do. 100 decibels, that's like a chainsaw, some real loud music. I kind of got that. 125, it's like at a super loud rock concert. And that's where your ears really start to hurt. And 130 to 140, that's like a jet engine. So y'all listen, I don't have a jet engine or a jet. There's no rock concerts around. But guess what? I'm going to do some crazy stuff to test this out. And it's going to be close as we can get. It might not even work, but we're going to do it anyway. So I'll catch y'all outside. Okay, so here's the plan. In order to measure this sound pressure level, I needed something really loud. And I don't have a jet engine because that's about 130 decibels. This can take 125. So I figured a lawnmower might work. So I have the NearStream AM25X here on the stand, pointed toward the lawnmower. I have it recording on my Tascam DR05, and I have this link flex device, giving it phantom power. So let's go ahead and start this thing. Okay. I didn't even press record on that. So now I got to do it again. I got to do it again. I don't know if it's speaking or not. I looked at this and it tells me whether things are peaking or not peaking. So when you record, the light will come on saying that it's peaking, and I don't think it did. But I'm going to go back and listen to the audio and find out. So, all right. One of the features that NearStream lists for this microphone is the fact that it is USB-C compatible and connects to a myriad of devices. They list PCs, computers, MacBooks, all of the above. So what have I done? I've connected it to my Osmo Pocket 3 via USB-C, and it works. And speaking of USB-C, this is the cable that they include. Very long. It's about 6.5 feet long. And the cool part is that it comes with an adapter to fit your older devices. USB-A, USB-C, and they all fit together for one thing. So let's take a look at the microphone itself and the features that are available in USB-C mode. So there are 3 features that we need to talk about. Number 1 is the headphone monitoring. If you take a look at the bottom of the device, there's a jack for monitoring your headphones. And you have a button here to switch the monitoring on and off. So you touch the touchpad, you see that it turns green. That means that the monitoring is active. And it should turn back orange. The orange is for when noise cancellation is off. But let's take a look at the mute capabilities on this. Now, there's 2 ways to activate the mute. The first way is to turn the volume all the way down past 1, and then the mute turns on automatically. I'm not doing that because I just had to set this volume for this device, and I'm not doing it again. But the other way is to use the touch sensitive control here to turn the mute on. You push it. And you see that? I'm back. So I touched it again and it unmuted itself. One touch mute is that simple. So we need to get to the main attraction of this condenser microphone, and that is the noise cancellation, because there are not very many condenser microphones that have noise cancellation. I'm in my garage, and the only treatment I have in this room is a little carpet on the floor and some things around. Now, being that this is a garage, you can probably hear the ceiling fan clicking right now. But also I have a portable air conditioning unit. So I'm going to turn it on. All right, and you can see the air is on. So the air is on. Now, let's activate the noise cancellation. And that can be simply activated by holding down the mute button. So we hold that down, and you see how this is blue now? And if you notice, a lot of the noise is gone. Now I have one more test to do. And this is something that's so far out of the way, but I'm going to do it. And if you know my wife, don't tell her I'm doing this because she might get mad at what I'm about to do. But let's give it a try. All right, so here is the test. What I'm going to do is fly the drone close here and let's see how the noise cancellation works with that. I've done it with some of their other microphones before, and it works very well. So I want to see what it does with this. Again, don't tell my wife I'm doing this. Don't tell her, because I don't want to hear it. All right, so let's get the drone going. My drone is the Potensic Atom 2. If you'd like to see a review of the Potensic Atom 2, you can check out my channel when I get finished with it, and then you'll see if you like it or not. But okay, let's move it close because it can get, whoa, okay. A little bit too close for comfort there. All right, let's bring it down so you can see it in the shot. And there it is. So this is the Potensic Atom 2 with noise cancellation from the NearStream AM25X. Now, just to prove how this works, what I'm going to do is turn the noise cancellation off, and let's see how it sounds. Okay, so that's the sound itself with the drone, no noise cancellation, air conditioning unit on there, and the ceiling fan. Okay, this is a little too close for comfort, so let me go ahead and land this. Whew, feel a lot better. Now, let's turn that back on. So now you can hear me. I want to let you know, I did some kind of extreme things for this. This is not the normal atmosphere that people would have. They would not be flying drones by themselves, by their faces and things like that. Most you'll have is an air conditioning unit or a fan. Or if you're a gamer, the fan from your laptop running. This can get rid of that. For the remainder of this video, I'll be using the NearStream connected to my Rodecaster Pro via XLR. I'm going to do all of the audio things to it, so it may sound different than it did earlier. So now that we've done all of the tests for the NearStream AM25X, now it's time to talk about what we like and what we didn't like so much. So what I really like about this microphone is the plug and play capabilities. So you can connect via USB to your computer. If you have something like the Osmo Pocket 3, action cameras, your phone, any of that, you can use the USB to connect it and you are ready to go and you get great sound quality. And when you decide to grow a bit and you get more equipment and more things, then you can use the XLR connection connected to your audio interface. And that way you get even better sound. And one thing I noticed that I haven't seen before, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong or if I don't know about it, but there are not very many condenser microphones with active noise cancellation included. To me, that's a good combination because condenser mics are usually very sensitive and they pick up everything. But I haven't seen many condenser microphones that couple the sound quality of a condenser mic with noise cancellation. Why is that important? Because you may not have a treated room. You may not have all of the extra things. But if you want to use the analog signal to record and get a little better quality, you can use the noise cancellation with that too. And the one thing that I did test that they said you can do is you can use the XLR connection and the USB. So you connect the XLR to your audio interface and now you're using the XLR connection for the sound. But if you connect your computer or some power source to the USB, then you're able to use a noise cancellation. So you can use both at the same time. And I don't know of any microphone brand that does that. The polar pattern of this microphone is a plus for me because when you are pointing it towards you, it rejects the outside sounds very well, very well. And that's important because when you get into post-processing and you're trying to put everything together, those ambient sounds can be distracting to your audience. So the fact that this polar pattern is set up in such a way where it picks up what's in front and reject from the sides, you can directionally, wow, yeah, you can directionally affect the sound that you're getting. You can cut out certain sounds. From my testing, it seems as if the voice quality is very clear, and I think it can take some good modifications. So what I mean is that if you record the raw audio how it is with no enhancements, when you get into post-processing, it's easy to add noise gates and different filters and change the quality of the sound without it breaking apart and it sounding terrible. The dual connections for me is a plus. That's what makes this a good microphone if you're starting out. If you don't have very many things, you just have your computer and a microphone or your phone and a mic, you can do this. You can use your voice recorder to record. You can record on action cameras and things like the Osmo Pocket 3. And the flexibility that gives you is a plus for me because it can grow with you. You can start at a certain place and you can grow and start using XLR connections and audio interfaces, and you can buy this mic once, and as your setup evolves, it can grow with you. Let's talk about the weight of this thing. Now, some reviewers think that this is a bad thing because it's not heavy. It's not like built like a tank. I think the opposite. Why do you need a heavy microphone? Does that construction lend to the sound quality? Far as I know, it doesn't. It just makes you have a heavy mic. You have to buy a beefed up mic arm to put it on. But with this being lightweight, it's easily portable. You don't have to invest in these heavy mic arms just to hold it. And the sound quality is about the same. So for me, the weight, yeah, the weight is a pro. So let's talk about some things that I didn't care so much for. And there's a couple, because no product is perfect. Now with this, the number one thing that really got under my skin that I think they can improve on the next one is the gain knob. I like the inclusion of the gain knob. It makes setting it and adjusting things easy. What I don't like is that it just spins continuously. So you don't know when you hit 0 or when you hit the absolute maximum. You have to look at the LED light just to determine that. And I want to be able to just go here and just turn it. And I know it would be even better if it had different levels on it, like it clicked for each level. Not even so much the high, medium, low, but maybe a 1 through 10. And click, 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 and it's there. Or does he have to click just something to know where I start and where I end? The next thing is the plosives. So the plosives stick out a bit. But there are some things that microphone companies can do to minimize that. But I'll say that is not eclipsed by good microphone technique. So if you just move the microphone off axis and tilt it a little bit, then the plosive won't be a problem. So I don't really count that as a con. Who is this for? And do I recommend the NearStream AM25x? This is for content creators and podcasters who are just starting out their journey, and that are on a budget, and they want to get something that's relatively inexpensive and performs well. For example, everybody looks at the Shure SM7B. And if you buy that microphone by itself, it's going to cost about $400. And you haven't even bought the audio interface, you haven't bought the cloud lifters and everything else to go with it. And at that point, you're at about, $700-800 just for a microphone. Versus this, $89. Sometimes you can catch it for even cheaper than that, and you get all of the same things. So people that are starting out in mid-level content creators, this is for you. Because you can start off with a bare bones setup. You can start off with much of nothing and slowly build, and it will grow with you. You'll have this for a long time. And the fact that it comes with the microphone stand and all of that for that same price, to me, that's good, because the price to performance ratio for me is very high with this microphone. But other microphones, they cost a lot more, and you have diminishing returns at a certain point. And you have to keep in mind that every system has a bottleneck. And what's the bottleneck in this system? If you have something with super high quality audio and you produce it and do all of that, but then your listeners use some regular headphones from the Dollar General, it's not going to matter. So I'll say shoot for the middle. Have good audio quality without spending a load of money. So with this microphone, I tested it. I did all types of things. I did the SPL test by the lawnmower. I did the noise cancellation with the air conditioner and the drone. I showed you how it sounded in a regular setting. We did all of that. And now I have to tell you if I recommend this or not. And by the tone of what I was talking about before, you probably know what I'm going to say, but I'll go ahead and say it. I do recommend this, especially for beginners. This is really good microphone. And the fact that it has the noise cancellation and all of that stuff, oh, that is wonderful. I love that. If you're starting out and you're looking for something that's not going to break the bank, but that's not bottom of the barrel either, take a look at this, the NearStream AM25x. I think it's a good buy. So if you look below, I have a link if you're interested in it, and maybe I'll try to scare up a discount code if I can. So anyway, y'all, that's all I got. Stay tuned for the next one because I have another microphone that could be the budget king. Will it dethrone this one? We'll see. So anyway, that's all I got. So I love y'all. God loves you too. And I'll see you later. I'm out. Peace.